Hello, beautiful people. My name is Davi. I'm joined by Abe and Charlie. Welcome back to another Tony Tuesday.
How you doing?
For our viewers and listeners, we hope you guys are doing well. Just a quick heads up, this episode is also available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, specifically the discussion portion of the show.
And you can become a member here on YouTube or join us on Patreon to get an uncut version of this reaction. It's $5 a month. You just have to have your own copy of the episode. We'll give you a countdown and the time code of the episode as well. And you can watch the whole thing with us.
And if you're new here, y'all, please don't forget to hit the subscribe button and also that notification bell so that you can be notified for when you have a new upload. And also, y'all, please don't forget to leave a big thumbs up on this video. Abe and Charlie, how y'all doing? Charlie, happy birthday again, bro.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you to you guys as well in the comments in our community post for wishing me a happy birthday as well. A lot of messages. I will answer them. I promise. But yeah, thank you, everyone.
How does it feel? Is it hurting? Like, what's the vibe?
It doesn't really feel any different.
That's the same every freaking year.
Yeah. Even though it is
The big
30,
3-0.
it feels like a milestone or so, but it feels good.
Yeah,
That's good.
it'll be like the first time that you have to like write your age down on a form
And then I'm
or
like,
something like that. Then you're gonna be like, oh damn.
yeah, this is, yeah.
And then you'll feel like unk.
Yeah.
I saw a lot of comments being like, still in diapers. So that should make you feel good.
I know. Yeah.
Still in diapers.
Yeah.
And I must be still in the womb. So that's far.
It's also David Fincher's 7's 30th anniversary.
Indeed.
So we're trying to...
And both of these
Yeah.
dudes have not seen
I actually
Seven.
have not seen
Not
7.
seen it.
We're seeing it after we record
Yes.
in IMAX because there's an IMAX re-release happening.
Yes. Charlie is gonna go see it in
Yes,
IMAX.
because it's the 30th anniversary and it's your
Yes.
30th birthday.
Yes.
Potentially, yes, I will.
Yeah, he will see it and he will give you his review.
I
in
do
the
have
next
to edit
episode.
this video.
He will
after
see
this,
it and
so-
give you his review in the next episode.
But before we get into this episode, Abe, can you please read our comments from our previous 20 Tuesday?
Yes, sir. The first one here comes from, oh my God, I don't know how to pronounce this name. Schizoidahole?
Schizoidahole. That's how I would say it.
Okay.
Schizoidahole.
Okay. Schizoidahole. And it says, this isn't a filler episode at all. The Sopranos is about characters first and the plot is completely secondary. I thought that was a very interesting comment. I was curious what you guys thought about that.
Yeah, I think in the discussion we had the question, does this feel like filler? And I think we all pretty much agreed that it did not feel like filler, right? At least I said it wasn't filler because it's giving more of that story of people doing stuff behind Tony's back, right?
My take was that it's hard to tell whether this is filler without understanding the rest of the narrative and the rest of the plot.
I see.
Because I agree that like character focus is always the best way to approach storytelling. That's how I prefer it. However, it should contribute to the narrative and driving the narrative of the overall story. And if it doesn't do that, then it could be filler. But it's the jury's still out. And I agree, like it should always be character focused 100%. It's just there's a lot of episodes left and it's hard to see what exactly it's building. But we did get some really insightful pieces that we, I think, talked about. You know, Artie, we talked about Tony and his kind of being softer and letting things go a little bit more. I think that was like one of the key developments that we saw in this. So there definitely are things that contributed to the narrative, but I think that's where the conversation lies. But it's a good conversation to have.
Right.
This one comes from Whoa Black Betty Bam Lamb. And they gave us a timestamp, 34 minutes, 47 seconds, David Chase cameo, which we totally missed because genuinely we do not know what David Chase looks like. We're going to watch probably the Wise Guys documentary after we finish the show, but genuinely I've never seen David Chase until somebody pointed that out. So I saw him. I think he was in the background of the plane. So that was funny. And the last one here comes from Arsalon618 and it says, one of the saddest moments in the show for me is after Christopher robs the Hollywood Award gift basket and returns to Jersey. All the gifts he offers to Tony are things Adriana would have wanted, and he had no use for them anymore.
Abe, I think you pointed out, you were like, oh, he could have gifted that to Adriana.
Yeah, well, somebody said it. I don't know if it was me or Charlie, but yeah, 100%. It was like he did all those things. It almost felt like secondary nature. He's like, oh yeah, Adriana would love this stuff, and then he almost like we didn't have like the explicit realization that Adriana isn't around anymore, but it's kind of for the viewer to assume that was probably one of his subconscious motivations for getting it, and now he has nothing to be able to do with that stuff.
It's heartbreaking to see.
Yeah.
But with that being said, y'all, Charlie, episode 8, Johnny Cakes.
Who is Johnny Cakes? We have Johnny Sack.
Are they referring to him?
I don't know. Okay.
Oh, wow.
We rarely ever get to see this. Tony with his own wife.
Literally.
You sure you're alright? The incision?
Yeah.
Wow.
WEVJ
Wow.
Jackson.
He should leave this place, man.
Yeah, he needs to keep moving.
Right, it's nice having this again.
Well, it's supposed to be better than nice.
After that nightmare, God, we are blessed, Tony.
Is this AJ on the kit? He got way better.
Yeah.
AJ's practicing?
Yeah, way, way better.
Damn. Oh, never mind. Is it? Is he auditioning for a band?
Your amigos with the baggy pants. Hope you kept them away from the silver.
Oh, Jesus, they're musicians, all right? They saw an ad for the drums.
You selling your drums?
I need cash.
Oh,
I
wasn't
don't play them
him playing.
anymore.
Those drums were a gift from your father.
Yeah, I don't want to sell them. If you guys hadn't made me get such a crappy job, I wouldn't have to.
This is our fault.
Well, I'm wasting my time at Blockbuster.
Why don't you get off your ass and find another job?
What about community college? You said you were going to go back to school.
Okay, for the 100th time, I can't register until second semester.
Oh!
I mean, Jesus Christ. I do what you guys want. Don't I deserve some kind of life?
God, he's the biggest brat, bro.
Had a feeling it was too good to be true. AJ playing like that.
Yeah, I was going to say.
Is that the same guy from the diner, the breakfast place?
Oh, yeah, probably.
That he went to?
Yeah, one of the guys is a firefighter.
You got a kid.
You want another one? Yeah, sure.
What life. Look at that.
Just two dudes.
Okay, this is one of the first times we're seeing him have a tender moment with him in a long time.
Yeah.
Uncle June, what are we going to do about him?
We haven't seen Uncle June in a
He's
while.
incarcerated for the rest of his unnatural life. So f*** him, he's a walking corpse.
Yeah, but Dad, what he did to you?
Certainly nothing for you to worry about.
It wasn't very tender. It was more anticlimactic than I was expecting.
Manager Dale, welcome to the neighborhood. We're from the North Ward Merchants Protective Cooperative.
I'm kind of busy. You guys looking for a donation?
You really should have some round-the-clock security here.
Isn't that what the police are for?
They do their best, but they got their hands full. Your weekly dues to us will give you all the supplemental safety net you'll ever need.
I can't authorize anything like that. It'd have to go through corporate in Seattle.
We merchants prefer to deal on a personal, one-on-one basis.
It's got to go through corporate.
How do you think corporate would feel if, for the sake of argument, someone threw a brick through your window?
They've got like 10,000 stores in North America. I don't think they feel anything.
What if an employee, even the managers say, was assaulted?
Every last fucking coffee bean is in the computer and has to be accounted for. If the numbers don't add up, I'll be gone and somebody else will be here.
Yeah, it's not as easy doing corporate stores, bro. It's
Yeah.
not the same thing as a mom and pop. The mom and pop shops are helpless. They don't have a choice.
Right.
I gotta go right.
Writing a book?
He's lying.
All right. Still waddling.
Check it out. I could do that. No problem.
Wait here. I'll get you Viagra.
Let me tell you something. For 2 months after the shooting, as far as Snatch was concerned, didn't even have a heart on when I woke up in the morning.
Like so.
Pull it with the plumbing, though. I must be healed now because I got a baguette in my pants now 24/7. Affirmation of life.
Baguette.
This guy.
Anthony Soprano.
Juliana Skiff, Century 21. You got a minute?
Oh, jeez.
Oh.
Real estate agent.
Yeah.
Is it real estate?
Yeah. Century 21 is
You own the building at 217 Franklin, right around the corner, currently occupied by Caputo Live Poultry. I represent the Jamba Juice Company. They're interested in purchasing the property.
Jamba Juice?
Well, you must have noticed the area's on an upswing. You know the old glove factory? Beautiful renovation. I just bought a loft there myself.
Is it gentrification happening?
Yeah.
Jamba Juice is willing to pay $175 a square foot. Public records show the building at 1,800 square feet. So that makes a purchase price of $315,000.
Cheap.
My roots here go way back. My grandfather came from Avellino, like most of the people around here, and I grew up right over there. My father was an early community leader.
Should hold on to this. Today, that's worth like $2 million.
So, interested? Not interested.
I'm interested. But as far as the property's concerned, 175 a square foot's a little low. I don't want to sell out from under the guy.
Is this going where I think it's going?
Yeah. 100%.
Been dreaming of those Johnny cakes.
Can't beat Jim's Johnny Cakes.
Saw you at the fire last night. You got bowls, my friend. You don't get paid for that, right?
It's a volunteer.
We're all volunteers.
Back where I come from, you joined the fire department to steal shit from people's bedrooms.
How's the book coming?
It's f***ing slow today.
Writer's block, huh?
Let's just say I like eating a lot more than writing. And you don't help any. Everything you make, f***ing delicious.
Maybe you're working too hard.
Yep.
Yeah,
Must be lonely sometimes, being a writer.
You get used to it.
Hey, Dad, I left my science project in the back.
Oh.
Interesting. Maybe they're exactly alike.
Hey, Andy! Oh, I need your help. Those horse, they play that music so loud.
Now, that's not nice. And those are Puerto Ricans, Mrs. Gotti. I'll see what I can do.
Ah, thanks. Hey, Alf Jr., tell him I said hello.
Yeah.
He's like, never mind. I won't do nothing about it.
Yeah, see? When you hold your knife with your blade facing your opponent, you got a lot better control. Plus, you protect the forearm.
Nah. If you got the tip pointing at him, you get more distance. You could swipe his abdomen and fucking gut him.
The customer right there.
Could someone please check us out?
Yo, Arnon. Sure, what time? No problem. I can cover tonight. I'm totally fucking minted.
Yeah?
What does that mean?
You stepped on a nail? How far to go in?
Oh my God.
Would you mind?
Yeah, I better call you back. That was Hernan? He was such a dick in high school.
Well, he was a senior. What do you expect? And they always shit on the underclassmen.
Can you empathize with AJ at that age?
Yeah, I had some problems at school, but I didn't vegetate.
These are different times. Young people today are bombarded with so much information.
You have no idea.
It's crazy how much it's progressed.
So much worse.
Sociologists say that 26 is in fact the new 21.
I think it's 30 now.
I'm 46, so that means I'm, what, 35?
Wow, we haven't seen him in a while.
Yeah.
How's it going with patient Soprano?
That's all he wants to hear about.
What?
I'm talking about my father, Elliot. Why don't you just admit he's a gangster? He was gunned down, and you're into it on a tabloid level.
True.
You devoted quite a chunk of last visit to him. I'm responding to that.
Nothing's changed, okay? He refuses to really engage on this trauma the uncle caused, and I think it's just a matter of time before he totally decompensates.
Has he cried? Reported crying at all about this man, Buster?
Junior, no.
Buster.
This omerta concept comes from a pre-therapeutic culture.
This isn't omerta. It's something else.
Pride, ego.
It's got to break your heart as a father.
Mm-hmm. Meanwhile, dad's like on the opposite with you. He's like, sell your drum set, bro. He's been telling you to sell your drum set for years.
Like 20 years later. Like AJ has only had this for a little bit.
His dad's really a gangster?
Capo di tutti capi.
What's that mean?
How old are you?
20.
Shut up.
15.
How old are you?
18.
That's crazy.
No.
Let's go uptown to my crib and get more twisted.
That's Hernan, right? The kid he was talking to?
Maybe.
Oh, here's the bill. Let's see if his blockbuster paycheck is going to...
We all good?
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, and he's going to cover for everybody because he has to look cool. Horrible.
All right, he's got that money.
I mean,
the drum set?
He just sold the drum set, so...
Zazu said to tell you he's honored to have you in the club. And please, regards to your dad.
Okay. Oh, yeah, right.
Jesus. So stupid. If his dad knew that, bro, he'd be so pissed.
Vito, what's being done about it? Well, like I just said, it's none of your fucking business because he works for me, not you.
He's married to my cousin. He dishonored me personally.
It's a victimless crime.
Marie is a victim. Her children are victims. They've done nothing, and they're forced to live with the shame and humiliation. In your Father's Day, we wouldn't be having this conversation.
I sympathize with Marie and the children, okay? But don't you fucking tell me what to do. You're only acting, boss.
I swallowed my pride when your murdering of a cousin killed my brother. Don't think I'm gonna do it twice.
Fundamentally, we are in agreement on this issue, but I'll handle it.
I feel like his accent's fading a little bit. I felt like he's talking a little bit different there. I don't know.
So, like, what's gonna happen to him? Your grandfather, I mean.
Well, he's my great uncle.
So isn't your dad gonna do something? You know, the omerta.
We don't talk about that with outsiders.
But I mean, he's not just gonna let him get away with it, is he?
Well, I'll probably have to do something.
Really? You're so intense.
You probably left it in the car, Thad.
No, it was on the bedside table. I was charging it.
You're always losing something. Last week it was the sunglasses.
What'd you lose?
Cell phone.
I didn't lose it. I was charging the damn thing. Tell you what I do. Try to retrace my steps.
Such a dick. We know he did that.
Hello?
Hey, it's me.
Where are you? Who's Thad McComb?
Some guy.
Oh my God, Vito.
Not that. I'm just borrowing his phone. Listen, Marie, I'm sorry all this had to happen. I never meant to hurt you.
Come back. Vito, just come back. Please, Phil said it'll be all right.
Yeah, okay.
Phil, trust him least of all.
How can you say that? He's family. He loves you.
Not anymore, believe me.
But I've been reading online. There were these church groups.
Conversion therapy.
Marie,
Well, what are you gonna do? Never come home?
I'm working on that. I gotta go.
Don't you want to talk to Franny a little bit?
Yeah, okay.
They're gonna yap too much, bro.
Hi, Dad.
Hey there, Chip. You been good? You been behaving?
Yeah, you know. Dad?
I gotta go. You take care of your mother, okay?
Damn. There's gotta be a Reddit thread, bro. There's gotta be a Reddit thread that counts how many times they cut.
To the Bing.
Exactly.
Hey.
Hi.
Jeez, she's coming.
Oh, she's going to the Bing?
She's persistent.
Jamba Juice up their offer. $225 a square foot.
I don't know.
How's this for an idea? They let you carry the note.
The truth is, I don't want to sell.
You're a businessman, are you not?
As a businessman, I got to tell you that in 10 years' time, that property is going to be worth twice as much as they're offering.
You're right, sir.
But, you know, it's not just the money. You drive around America today and everything looks the fucking same. The Old Navy and Bed Bath and whatever.
2 stores that are barely there anymore.
He's not wrong about that. Just the corporate.
The sentiment is right.
Yeah.
Listen, why don't me and you go get some dinner?
I have a boyfriend. I'm engaged.
Well, I have a wife. I'm married. So, you know, we're talking business.
You just said you don't want to sell. What's there to discuss?
She's too smart.
Very attracted to you. Maybe you read in the papers that I got shot. That experience made me appreciate life. It's short. It can end at any time. And if you got the chance to do something that might make you happy, you should take it.
Oh, Tony.
You're very persuasive. In the past, I might have jumped. Like I said, I'm engaged. You know, things are going well. For once in my life, I will exercise a little self-control.
Good for you. She'll be back.
Vince, come here. Join us. Nancy's. Don't argue now.
That was a good scene.
We should get a bike. Out here when the leaves are changing, blasting down the Daniel Webster Highway. There's nothing else like it.
I'm glad you decided to write your book in our little town.
What you doing? What are you, some kind of
Guess I made a mistake.
You sure as did.
Listen, Closet Queen, you can't handle it. Don't send out the signals.
Ooh.
This is Brokeback Mountain.
Yeah, I was about to say that.
Oh, no.
No way.
Vito, what the hell are you doing, bro?
Bro.
Asshole.
Damn.
Wonder what that was about.
That's internal homophobia. Internalized, I mean.
You're always looking out for me. I'm very lucky to have you.
And don't you forget it. I need new clothes.
You got money? You sold your drums.
And I need that money for living expenses.
What do you think clothes are?
No, I mean nice clothes. Right? Not socks and underwear.
Oh, so you can go out to the clubs with Fernando. That kid is a creep.
Hernan. And he's not a creep, he's my friend. And I don't talk about your friends that way.
He is a creep, you're right, Tony.
Hernan's mother and I were on the faculty lunch committee. Hernan has a reading disability.
That.
He's Latino and dyslexic. How stereotypical.
Your lack of interest in anything productive.
Hey, I'm interested in productive stuff. Right? Just not stuff you care about. I could run one of those clubs.
What?
I'm not just partying there. Right? I'm learning. I see what works, what doesn't. Right? I could have a great club and really successful.
I believe this, Loki.
I mean, he talked about how he's really good at planning stuff and...
Now, you know people. You could help me. And it's not like you can't afford to set me up. I mean, you have all the money in the world.
Manage a club, AJ? You've never even been a busboy. If you want to get back into event planning, you should think about the Culinary Institute in Poughkeepsie.
Culinary Institute. Why do you keep talking about event planning? I don't even know what that is.
Doing what you...
Get your job at Beansies and you can learn the business from the ground up.
It's a fucking pizza parlor, right? Not a club.
It's the service industry.
Why are we even having this discussion? You're going back to college next semester.
She's wrong there. She shouldn't do that. Like, you know this is not a college kid.
Maybe we should get him a club. You know? Give him some responsibility. Maybe he'll rise to the occasion.
Are you insane?
What happened to Adriana's club? Who's running that?
Probably Christopher. I don't know.
Give it to AJ.
Yeah, recipe for the disaster. Christopher and AJ.
Just when I was beginning to feel physically good again. Like my old self.
Bruh, that hand motion was crazy.
But honestly, no one could blame a man for seeking an extracurricular outlet in a situation like this. Now, don't give me that look. You're always telling me that I'm projected. You're projected.
So you're not seeking an extracurricular outlet?
No. I was just being theoretical.
You were tempted.
What Carmela did for me when I was hurt, the way she took care of me, nursed me back to health, you think I would have fucking betrayed that?
Yes.
Is it possible on some level you blame her for AJ's problems?
I don't know. No. Carmela's a good mother. Did her best. Could you just give me some practical advice for once? Tell me what the to do about my son?
Well, I think it's entirely appropriate for you and Carmela to tell AJ you have certain expectations of him, particularly since he's living in your home.
Valid.
The most important thing is that you and Carmela are in agreement on the issues, that you don't undercut each other or act at cross purposes.
Giving you good advice.
It was straightforward.
So you can buy a suit to look nice for job or college interviews. This is not for fun. Not to be used for any kind of personal entertainment.
Thanks.
Oof. Not looking great. So, like, now should you leave New Hampshire? Because what's the point?
Oh,
Look at that.
See? Him and Christopher are a match made in hell. Yeah, that money went to a suit, all right.
Farhad and Daryl are starting a line of sports drinks.
Oh, cool. Big thing now, not just carbs.
Protein. When you exercise, you drink a 4-to-1 carbohydrate to protein solution. You decrease muscle damage, increase endurance.
Yeah, that makes sense.
They're looking for investors.
Maybe we can get you a prospectus, huh?
Well, absolutely.
For your dad. You can ask him to look at it.
That's the thing. It's always
It's
going
always
to be
defeat him.
It's always going to be about his dad.
AJ, I woke you up 2 hours ago like you asked me. Now get up.
Oh my God. Was that Aqua Teen Hunger Force?
It is 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You were not even dressed. I got the impression you had something important to do.
I don't like that.
Oh my gosh.
He's gonna try to do Junior? Yeah. Oh my God, bro.
How come I don't get no mail? Maybe you need to write some letters. Start a correspondence. Lying cocksucker. They throw my mail out.
Oh yeah.
Your uncle is having dinner, but you can see him now.
Wait for me, please.
Bro, this is like post 9/11. There's no like metal detectors, no nothing.
I don't think he's going to actually do it.
He won't. He's going to see him. He's going to see his state.
He can't do anything.
Watch him not even remember him.
No, I think he will remember.
Probably you have a visitor. What? Anthony!
Yeah, he will. See?
My nephew. Take me home. I want to go home. Knife! It's not my knife.
Yikes. Yeah, he's screwed.
I just talked to Summerman and Zellman. Get him out of here.
I'm still dying. Junior's like, that's not my knife.
My stomach hurts.
Stupid fucking moron. You realize what's gonna happen to you? We didn't have connections. Some cop goes by the book and they charge you with attempted murder. Attempted murder, then what? Then what?
So he shot you! You just gonna let him fucking get away with it?
I told you that's my business, not yours. And what did you do? Nothing. Zero. A big fucking jerk off. You! I'm gonna break your fucking neck!
I guess your heart was in the right place, AJ. But it's wrong.
What?
It's not in your nature.
You don't know me. And you don't know anything about me.
You're a nice guy. And that's a good thing, for Christ's sakes.
Bullshit!
I mean it. You're a good guy, and I'm very grateful.
You're a fucking hypocrite. Like, 'cause every time we watch Godfather, when Michael Corleone shoots those guys in the restaurant, those assholes who tried to kill his dad, you sit there with your fucking bowl of ice cream and you say it's your favorite scene of all time.
Whoa.
Jesus Christ, AJ. Man, you make me want to cry. It's a movie. You gotta grow up. You're not a kid anymore. You gotta grow up.
It was dry even. It kind of does seem like he was taking stuff in the movies seriously.
Yeah.
Like at Blockbuster, watching the fight, prepping himself for what he was gonna do to Junior. What'd I say?
Yes?
I know you don't want to sell, but I thought you should know. Jamba Juice up their offer to $275 a square foot, $494,000.
You're kidding me.
Plus, they'll let you carry the note at 7.5%. Any interest?
It's a lot of money.
Yeah.
Sold.
Oh.
Wow.
Why don't you come by my office tonight and sign the papers?
Oh, he's gonna sign the papers, all right.
How about your apartment instead?
Good idea. Want me to give you the address?
Well, I remember the glove factory. See you around 9 o'clock.
You think I would betray Carmela? They send me back to health.
Can I get an order of Johnny cakes?
Short stack or tall?
Tall.
Coffee?
Sometimes you tell a lie so long, you don't know when to stop. You don't know when it's safe.
I hear you.
Oh, yikes.
What?
She's just helping them get ready to literally go.
Oh,
Extracurricular activities.
Where you going?
Got a real estate thing.
My handsome man.
Oh, jeez.
He better feel some guilt. and
you
not
can
do
see
anything.
it.
Oh yeah, I think you see it now.
Okay, buddy. That's a way to take off someone's shirt.
Anyway, I was thinking maybe you could talk to your dad who could send someone to lean on this prick a little and get him to give me my money back. Sopranos the man.
Well, he's having a panic attack. Or is he going to throw up?
If he throws up in front of everybody, that's not good.
Hey, you okay? You want some?
No.
Oh, I think it was a panic attack.
Hi.
Damn.
Champagne?
We're celebrating, aren't we?
I guess.
That real estate money good, huh?
Sign here. And here.
He
He's
hasn't
not
even-
even gonna read it. Oh gosh, Tony.
And he hasn't even talked to the guy that's running the chicken.
No, he hasn't. That's right.
He's just gonna sell it and be like, "Hey, you're
Gotta
gone.
get out of here."
Oh,
Yeah.
just for my god, because he wanted some extracurricular activities, bro.
Not gonna lie though, getting paid for it is kind of crazy. Instead of paying for it.
That's it.
I knew that was coming.
Tony was doing so well for a while. They're both horrible. Married man and she's an engaged woman.
Stop. Just stop.
He sees it.
It's the ring.
Yeah.
Am I done?
Done?
Yeah, sign it. Am I done?
She told you you were done.
Yeah.
I gotta go.
Still cheated.
Yeah.
But I bet he feels really proud of himself now.
Stopped himself at second base. Oh no.
Seen that before.
Hey, man, you all right? I'm a doctor. Do you want me to call an ambulance?
My heart is beating so fast.
Did you take anything? Cocaine? Amphetamines?
No.
Has anything like this ever happened to you before?
Yep. Once.
Do you have a history of panic attacks?
Runs in the family.
Tony? Hi, how'd it go?
What's it take to get some fucking smoked turkey in this house, huh?
What?
I bust my ass all day long. I come home, I want a little smoked turkey. Is that too fucking much to ask?
Jeez.
Is your problem?
Everything but fucking turkey in here.
Nope, cold cuts.
You hear? Goddamn juice place moving in here. What Jews? Your boss went and sold the building. He sold the building.
What Jews?
Oh my god.
The fuck is happening to this neighborhood?
Wow.
Yeah, and they're not gonna be happy with Tony.
Hot take. It's my favorite episode since the whole Kevin Finnerty arc, since the hospital arc.
Oh, yeah, this was good. Abe said this was the best episode since the Kevin Finnerty arc.
Since the hospital.
The hospital and that entire, I think it was like storyline.
I think 3 or 4 episodes, something like that.
Yeah, and I can agree to that. I think this episode was it was really good, dense. There was just a lot of not new dynamics, but explored more into questions that we had about AJ and where he's at, Vito, and just also Tony going back to his extracurricular activities, and but also the regret he faced and him coming home and being angry.
Yeah.
But I want to. There's a lot,
Which is super interesting. That whole reaction.
There is. This discussion could be. There's a lot to talk about with this episode, and I want to start with that specific moment because I think Tony in this episode, we saw something that I don't think he's ever done this series so far. Is yes, he did cheat, yes, but he did stop and he came home and he was really mad. Was he mad at himself? Was he mad at the world? What did you guys think, Abe, specifically this episode, specifically with Tony and him coming home and being so angry, and what stood out to you with this dynamic?
Yeah, I think for me, it called out the fact that Tony has like this internalized like self-hatred when these sorts of things happens. Like he almost knows how bad it is and doesn't like want to admit that he's the bad guy. It's almost like he has to, and he's angry at himself, but that anger has to be directed elsewhere. Whether that be at, taking it out on somebody in his crew or taking it out on his wife specifically. I think his wife specifically in this episode being the target of his anger after this activity is very telling, because everything is going so well and everything is going great. Why? Because they have been close. They have been on the same page. They have been, intimate together, and it feels like everything's been going back to normal and everything's been good. But the second that, he screws up, he almost needs to make it equal. Like Carmela's also screwing up. There's no smoked turkey in the fridge. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I might be cheating, but you're not putting smoked turkey in the fridge. like to me, it just felt like he cannot accept. We've talked about accountability with him and like and feeling like the person who is wrong in this situation. And I think there's a couple of moments where we see that, because I think in the same vein, some of the AJ stuff, you know, him being like, AJ, you got to grow up, you got to grow up. And I'm like, all right, well, think about it. How much of him not growing up have you actually enabled as a father, in terms of the life that you lead, in terms of the behaviors that you show him? Like, is that really conducive to him growing up, or are you contributing to the problem? And again, I think there is a lack of him being accountable for his actions, and what that does to the people around him. So I thought that was really well done. And again, I'm not trying to harp on the filler aspect of the last episode that we were talking about, but in this episode, these were already storylines that we were already were still waiting to see some development on, and we saw a significant amount of development. AJ and Tony's relationship is something we've been talking about since season 1, and it's still progressing. And we're seeing that come to fruition here. Carmela and Tony's relationship was at the forefront of this episode. Obviously, the whole Vito arc is important. So to me, this one felt a lot more, narrative, plot driven in terms of what's going on in the story at the moment. So that's just the difference for me in of why I gravitated towards this episode more than the last one.
Yeah. We staying on Tony right now in this episode. We also saw AJ tell him straight up that he is a hypocrite.
Yes.
And that was, I think, very significant because of the actions that occurred after, right? He ended up cheating on his wife. And Charlie, I want to know what stood out to you in that dynamic with AJ literally just telling his father, bro, you're a hypocrite. Like, it's you. And what stood out to you in that aspect? And
I'm looking more of their relationship between the conversation that he had with Dr. Melfi, because she asked him at one point, do you blame Carmela for like his lack of progress, I guess, like
right.
raising him poorly? And he's like, no, she's a good mother, like she did a good job. Basically, like he put all the responsibility on raising the kid on her, and he, as a parent, is doing nothing. Wow. That took a while, but it happened.
Again, bro, make sure you donate. We can't keep the lights on this channel. I'm kidding.
It survived quite a bit. I don't know
what the hell's going on.
Yeah, but yeah, I have to get up and grab the lights, but use my phone flashlight for a second, because that works.
Yeah, do it.
So yeah, Tony was basically just putting the responsibility of raising kids to Carmela, and not at all to
it's really not working.
And he's just not taking responsibility as a parent.
Yeah,
his role is, I gotta put food on the table and make the money for the family. Everything else is on Carmela.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Do you want to? I'll expand on that point while you try to make us visible. I agree with Charlie. I think that point was super significant, because it goes back to the point that I was making. He defers accountability to other people. Like, he thought long and hard. I mean, granted, Melfi asked the question in a kind of a leading way, like, do you blame Carmela at all? And maybe she was trying to get at, like, without attacking him, because she knows if she attacks him, he kind of shuts down. Like, hey, do you blame Carmela? Almost maybe trying to see if he would potentially blame himself, but he doesn't even go there. And it's also like, and to me, it's like, it speaks a little bit to the fact that he can't take accountability, and also the way that he was raised, right? Like in this traditional Italian American household, it's the mother that takes care of the kid. They're responsible for nurturing and raising, and the father's responsible for being the breadwinner. Like, so in his mind, it doesn't even cross the fact that he had some level of responsibility for the way that AJ's acting. So to me, I thought some really significant and eye-opening moments in this episode, specifically that Melfi conversation that he had, which I don't know if it reveals anything new, but it's like it almost doubles and triples down when we know about Tony. It's like he lacks a bit of self-reflection a lot of times. And I think we saw that a lot in this episode.
We see this whole situation with him wanting of Juliana and him wanting to her wanting to sell his building for the Jamba Juice, and I'm wondering if anything stood out to you guys in that dynamic in the relationship, if there's something else that you saw.
I mean, again, his MO of the kind of women that he likes is like this independent, strong woman that he like gravitates towards when he like has a Gumar or like another love interest. But it's like the opposite of what he wants Carmela to be.
Yeah. I was just gonna go for
ahead.
He like that. I feel as though like Juliana could have been like a mirror image of like what Carmela could have been if she carried through with her real estate career.
Yeah,
right.
If she could be making these deals, making money like crazy.
It's like, it's crazy because, you know, I think we saw how Carmela reacted in the show when Irina called the house, right? And she was ballistic. I think that if she knew who Juliana was and like her job, who she is,
my gosh,
she would freak out. And I think that she would like have no choice but to leave Tony because of exactly what Charlie's talking about. It's the mirror image of what she could have been. And it's like, I cannot believe that you will not allow me to pursue this. And yet you are now chasing the very thing that I could be. It's wild. It is a crazy thing.
Just not even just not allowing, it's like hindering her progress in it because even like the spec house that she's trying to build, she's asking him for help and he's not giving her the help.
Yeah. I also
like how quick was he able to sign the papers, get the deal done, everything.
This is the thing for me, right? Like, I don't think he wanted this deal at all. I don't think he cared about this money. I don't think he wanted this deal at all.
Bro, he just wanted the box.
Yeah. Like he was completely like just thinking about sex the entire time. Like he was super focused on it.
You go to that scene where he's signing, you look at his body language. He's so tense. Signing,
yeah, and he's doing it so quickly so that he doesn't regret or like stop himself from, you know what I mean? Like it's a means to an end. And now I think not only is the regret huge because he, you know, was unfaithful to Carmela, but he was unfaithful to himself and his community and the things that he wants to believe that he stands for. He's given that all up for what? And I think that was pretty significant in that scene in this show, in this episode as well.
Yeah, I really liked how they developed that dynamic, especially the scene prior to Carmela ironing his shirt and giving it to him, putting it on. You had brief shots of the wedding ring. Him it was just, I thought it was very significant and executed really well. I was wondering what else stood out to you guys in the filmmaking aspect in this episode so far.
Yeah, I thought the tone of this episode specifically, I thought was really good. I really liked the scene between AJ and Tony outside the police station against the car. To me, it was like something about it just like really drew me in. I was invested in the way that it was shot, just the mood around the whole thing. It felt super serious and it felt like a turning point. What that turning point is, I don't know, but they did a very good job of the filmmaking aspect in the Tony and AJ scenes, I think, specifically.
I think that moment for AJ could be Tony's cutting the pinky finger moment that he had with his dad when he was younger, right? Because it was after that AJ had a panic attack in the club. Just, I guess, pressure from everything. And also he kind of gets a glimpse of his father seeing him as weak, potentially, even though Tony means it in a good way. He's trying to convince him, like, no, you're a nice guy.
Yeah, that was like thing. Yeah, he was trying really hard not to basically call him a pussy.
Yeah, so he was saying, you know, AJ, you're a nice guy. You don't need to do this. It's something good to have. Yeah. And then you always cut to scenes and moments where his dad is referenced among his friends, and you see him completely shut down. And I'm wondering, Charlie, what do you think of that aspect of where, You have his father telling him, yo, you're a nice dude. Like, this is something good to have. It's good to have a good heart and be nice and be kind. But, you know, there's always this, it seems like I don't know if it's a dislike of when he is mentioned near his father, mentioned about when when his father is mentioned around his friends, he completely shuts down. I'm wondering, what do you think about that aspect?
It's him always having to live up to his father's image, right? So, and also being in his father's shadow, because he's never going to be Tony Soprano. You saw he tried to do the thing that he thought was right and go attack Uncle Junior, and he messed it all up and got arrested, whatever. Clearly this is not the lifestyle for him, and Tony is also telling him, like, this is not in you, like, you're different. This is not part of you. But I almost feel like he feels like he is expected to be like his father and to live up to the mob lifestyle eventually, or something, because of all his peers around him. It's kind of like peer pressure. Like, hey, can you get your dad to deal with this for me? Can you get your dad to deal with that for me? To the point where he's so tired of being in his dad's shadow that he might just take it upon and do it himself. Like, nah, let me deal with it for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
like,
he essentially did that with the Junior situation. Like, he
but he
failed.
failed.
Upon himself.
But he failed, right?
No, 100%. And I think that what we saw in this episode was a lot of him struggling with his own self-image and self-identity. Like, he doesn't know who he is. His entire, like, you know, friends liking him and people asking and being interested in him is literally just about his dad. And it feels like it's been that way for, like, a significant amount of time. His dad comes up in conversation with friends all the time. The notoriety he gets from it, he kind of abuses it and uses it for people to think that he's cool or to get what he wants. But in the same vein, he doesn't have, for lack of a better way to say, he doesn't have the sauce that Tony does. Because when Tony walks into a club like that, he doesn't need to pay some, you know, random manager $200 to be like, to be welcomed in there. He's Tony Soprano. He walks in, put it on my tab. That tab's never getting paid. Like, it's different than what he does. Like, he comes with the family aspect of the Sopranos, but he knows he's not his dad. He's not treated in that same way. And then just like what Charlie was saying, is like, oh man, you're the man, but maybe your dad can invest in this thing, or maybe your dad can solve this problem for me, or maybe your dad can X, Y, and Z. And I think he's coming to the realization, it's like, what am I? Who am I? What do I do? How do I? And he's at a crossroads right now where it's like, okay, you either carve out your own self-identity or you try to put all your efforts into becoming your father. And we've talked about this moment for a while, and I feel like we're here. I feel like we've gotten here now.
It's like, now he has to pick.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like being a superstar athlete's son.
Yeah.
And not being able to live up to his legacy or something.
Yeah, a little bit.
Like, it's kind of like that.
Yeah, and you know, there are multiple occasions where that kind of thing happens, and you know, those kids pick their own path, they pick their lane, and they figure it out, and the parents are supportive. And that is essentially what Tony wants. But I don't think that they have actually given him the level of support and guidance to find what it is that lane is for him, because his mom wants to continue him going to college. His dad is on a completely different page. And although, like, age is a little shit, like, they're not really, like, emotionally supporting him through, like, the self-identity crisis that he's going through right now.
My question is, like, where did things go wrong in the raising AJ process? Because Meadow turned out great.
Oh, it's pretty clear. I'm not going to lie to you.
No, because, I mean, we see AJ from, like, high school, maybe even a little before high school until now, right? But I'm saying we didn't necessarily see, like, the day-to-day, like, whatever. But he was very much neglected.
I'll tell you what it is. Both of them have an arguing relationship with Carmela. Now, who has a good relationship with Tony? It's Meadow. And she had, like, a cheerleader, somebody who could, like, cheer her on and want her to aspire to do great things. And she did that. And with AJ, is really not neither of the two. Like, his mom, you know, nags him, and I'm not saying that's not something that a mom should do. Like, of course, like, you know, kids should do chores. Kids should do whatever it is that, you know, a parent tells them to do. They live under their roof. But they also need to have some sort of loving connection that is nurturing, and he didn't have that with either of his parents. And I think that was super detrimental to the way that he's turned out to be. We're seeing him kind of just float in space. Like nothing has really stuck for him because it doesn't seem like anybody is really, clinging on to his aspirations or really cheering him on the way that Tony really did with Meadow. And I think that it's really hard for Tony to do that with AJ because they're both male figures. And the way that Tony knows how to model is the life that he lives, the life that his dad lived. And he really is no example for AJ.
Right.
So to me, I think it's pretty clear where it all went wrong. But it's very unclear to Tony and to Carmela.
Yeah, I think it's him finding out that his family are mobsters.
Yeah.
When he found that out,
he found that out forever ago, and from
I think
that
it was
moment,
for that moment.
Yeah, it was completely. It went completely left. Like
he also had to live through the whole divorce process.
Yep.
In the
bouncing
house.
between houses, a broken home, all that stuff.
Whereas Meadow was already off to college during that, so she didn't have to live through that.
Yeah. He was, close to home when the junior stuff happened, with shooting Tony and all that. Like, there's a lot of stuff. This is like significant traumas that they all went through. FBI raided their house.
Right.
Like, outside of the fact that he didn't really have a nurturing relationship with his parents, he's seen some pretty bad shit.
A bear. He got scared by a bear.
Mommy. Exactly. But I'm curious. I mean, we always welcome them. If you have different thoughts on the relationship that AJ has with his parents, why he ended up the way that he did, we're always down to see a different perspective. So comment down below what you think.
Yeah, and Charlie, I want your thoughts on his Godfather reference. And with him working at Blockbuster, and you see him mimicking the film that he's watching, stabbing. If you guys could please let us know what film is that. And I'm so sorry, I don't know what he was watching.
I don't either.
But he's like, no, you don't do it. You got to do it like this. You got to. So I'm just wondering what you think those two specific moments symbolized for AJ's narrative.
It's not like a full formed thought yet, but I guess like father, like son, they both like movies. In their own respective ways. Tony is very much like, he just appreciates it for the art that it is, and for AJ, potentially, especially like the violent stuff and the mobster stuff, is in his imagination is like what his father's doing on a day-to-day basis, because he can't see it, right? So he, through the movies, he's getting the perspective through movies instead of through real life.
I also like. There was a point, like the conversation that AJ and Tony have, where he's like, "You got to grow up because of the movie stuff." Like, sure, it's valid. Like, yeah, the kid shouldn't be mimicking, how to knife fight based on a movie, and he also shouldn't be trying to replicate, killing somebody because of The Godfather, because the same situation happened. But in his defense, this is kind of half baked because I don't remember the exact details. But do you remember when? I think it was probably the most recent time that Tony came on to Dr. Melfi, and he had like a basket and the tie, the Prince of the Tide or whatever thing. And he had literally gotten that from a movie that he was watching or a show that he was watching.
Yeah.
And it was like, dude, whether AJ saw that or not, you do the exact same thing. Like you take things from movies in real life and try to replicate that stuff.
Right.
You are literally doing the same thing. The behavior that you're modeling for your child is like, what are you expecting him to do? Sure, maybe he took it to a measure more drastic than you ever would, but it's essentially what you're doing. And like, it's just like neglectful parenting that you're not recognizing that. So to me, that point just stuck out as Charlie was talking about the connection to movies and all that stuff. Like they're similar more than I think Tony is willing to accept or recognize.
Yeah. I mean, they both spend a lot of time in front of the TV.
1,000%.
That's for sure.
Yeah, I don't know what he's going to get from Aqua Teen Hunger Force, but
a wild sense of humor. Yeah. That's what he's going to get. For sure. But, yeah.
The funny reference, Melfi, not funny, but reference, Melfi said that 26 is the new 21. And just how relevant that still is today.
I'm sure it's worse.
Yeah.
If AJ was in this generation, he'd be brain broken, bro. Like, I mean, I think he already is, but like he would just be like, I don't know what the hell would be wrong with that kid. Probably a lot worse than he is in this era.
Now we want to jump to Vito. Vito, we also saw, I think not similar, but I think a similar dynamic that was happening with, I think, all three, the self-identity and discovering who they are. And Charlie, I want to start off with you. What did this Vito episode also encompass for you? What stood out to you in his time in New Hampshire?
I mean, for me, what caught me by surprise was the moment with the guy that's like a volunteer firefighter and works at the diner, breakfast joint, when they were about to like kiss outside, and then he like freaks out, shoves him away, and is like, yo, what are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. Calling him gay and whatever. And I was like, bro, but like you're like leading him on. You both you play for this team. What's happening? Like, why are you getting all upset? And Abe mentioned like the internalized homophobia. I can see that because his whole life, he's made to think that he's not supposed to be this way.
Yeah.
And when he's giving into it, that's like instant reaction is, yo, get the hell away from me. Like, what are you doing?
Right. We've seen this trope before. That's why I mentioned Brokeback Mountain. I haven't even seen like the entirety of Brokeback Mountain. I think I've seen like bits and pieces of it, but I'm like almost entirely positive that exact scene happens in that movie.
Yeah, there is an arguing scene like that.
Yeah. And like, it's a trope because there is a lot of reality based in this. Like when you are, my understanding of it anyway, is that when you are somebody who has been hiding something for forever and you've been conditioned to believe that, your true self nature is bad, when that side of you comes out, you do your best to suppress it. So when that moment finally like happened, it was like this explosion of like conflicted feelings and shame and guilt. I think, one big point of guilt was the fact that he had literally just talked to his wife, I think that day. And he's probably thinking about, leaving her behind, which is effed up. Like the fact that he's leaving his whole family behind is crazy. But in the same vein, like that life and that relationship that he had is not real. Like that was not
right.
That is not who he is. So he's like caught between these two versions of himself. And his immediate reaction is to suppress that and to let the shame win over in that moment. So I thought it was a powerful scene, and then you see the resolution of it. I think he was able to be honest with the guy, and the guy came at him real. He was like, "Bro, if you can't take it, like he told him straight up, you're a closet queen. Like, don't send all the signals if you're not willing to do this." And it's just a guy who is confused because, I don't think he's ever been able to do any of that as publicly as he is doing it right now. You know what I mean? Like the best he's been able to do is go to a gay bar or get busy before construction hours, but he's never been able to like publicly do something like this. I think that's part of the reason why he had such a like strong reaction of like, oh my god, this is wrong, like I can't do this right now. So it's interesting to see that. I do think that like it's crazy because we're seeing Vito like in a positive light for himself. Like I think he is feeling good about his own self-identity in this moment, but feels like his demise is inevitable. Like somebody's gonna find him.
Yeah, but also the situation is heartbreaking to see because he built a whole family.
Right. Yep.
He has
and he
two
cares about
kids,
that family,
and he does care exactly. He has a lot of love and care, but he's in a tricky situation.
Yeah, but I think regardless of like him specifically being gay, like any sort of situation where like somebody's self-identity is neglected in that sense, there's only so much you can suppress that. And like there's only so much you can give towards your family and be a dad and be a husband and whatever, when there's a whole part of your being that you're neglecting. Thank you for the voicemail. Is that a call?
No, there was somebody at the door. Mom's Apple delivery.
But yeah, that's you're suppressing that, like, your own self-identity. I think it limits what it is that you can be for other people.
Another aspect that I really liked about this episode was I think we got some signs of gentrification happening in this episode with corporations now coming into this Italian American neighborhood, and kind of got a Jamba Juice being made. I think that coffee shop kind of reminded me of a Starbucks. Yeah. It said Seattle. I was like, okay, it's Starbucks. Okay. So I'm just wondering what stood out to you in that dynamic. Also the whole real estate happening and planning, and what you saw, Abe, with that.
Yeah, I think it just changes the way that everybody operates, right? Like there are the things that you can sympathize with are like there are pillars and cornerstones in the community that might be going away because of this. The guy with the chicken shop is like the primary thing. There's this old lady that Tony is consistently referencing and seeing in the street of that community, that he feels some sort of guilt or shame for the real estate thing that he's selling. But then you see the things that I sympathize less with. We see the example of oh man, I forget their names. I always forget their names. The two guys, two mobbed up guys. I always forget their names.
The ones that went to the coffee shop.
The one that went to the coffee shop to basically be like, you got to pay your dues. Da, 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 da. And he's like, yo, the corporate is not gonna let me do that. Yeah. And they're like, shit, there's nothing that we can do, because if we attack you or we do anything towards you, you're not gonna give us anything, because corporate is just gonna try to use police and whatever, and like they have more power than the mom and pop shops, which like I really think begs an interesting question. Is like, for Tony and the mob, there is an element of preserving their culture, right, and their values and the people that live in that community. But there's also preserving their business, and how they make their money. And with more corporations coming in like that diminishes their value.
And Tony openly just accepted one coming in, without even noticing.
100%.
He literally
ghost stories in the night.
So I think that was also an interesting dynamic, that he kind of involuntarily did it, and voluntarily and involuntarily at the same time. But yeah, so I'm wondering what I talked about last episode too is like, is this going to be the fall of the mob because of this?
Yeah, it feels a little bit like it. I mean, the more that this sort of thing happens, it turns from blue collar crime to white collar crime. Right? You need people higher up. You need to be in with the CEOs. You need to be in with the corporations to allow you to do sketchy stuff like that. Even some of the stuff that he does on the government basis with, councilmen and whatever. Like, it's that level of corruption that needs to happen for you to keep this business model going, just economically. Like the mom and pop stuff, the more it gets gentrified, the more corporate businesses show up, the less you're able to do that kind of thing. So you got to almost rethink, the level in which you do things, or you're going to be potentially out of business.
Yeah.
Yeah. And with that being said, y'all, thank you so much for watching and listening to this episode. We love you guys and see you soon for more Tony Tuesday. Stay beautiful, y'all.
See ya.